Welcome to Travel Agent Achievers, the place to learn how to grow your travel business and have fun with it. Join Rosalind and her guests as they walk you through proven steps to a fulfilling and profitable business.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Travel Agent Achievers podcast, which is where we discuss with our experts and also have our beautiful solo sessions with myself, Ros Rance, on all the areas of business that will help you for your future success. Now, today, in this day and age, there are so many different things that we can do in business, and particularly running a travel business. So we're really zeroing in on and honing in, on something very important that is a skill we all need to have. Today, we are talking about public speaking. Now, this is a topic that often scares travel advisors off, and I see it time and time again in the travel and tourism industry. There are so many people that I know, many fellow colleagues that are amazing at what they do, yet they're afraid to use their voice to attract their ideal clients, to increase their presence in the business world, and often won't put themselves out there. So I wanted to help change that and bring in a beautiful friend and public speaking expert, Jaimie Abbott. Now,
Hey,
Hi, Jaimie. Let me just finish your bio there, my friend. I told you.
Too excited.
You are so excited. All right. So Jaimie is an award-winning public speaker and MC who regularly works with some of the biggest companies around the world, giving inspirational and entertaining presentations, as well as hosting workshops, events, and conferences. She's spent over 2 decades in the media industry, here in Australia, working as a radio and TV journalist, a political media advisor, local government counsellor, and managing director of her own public speaking and media training company. Now, in addition to that, she's also a communications advisor for the Royal Australian Air Force. In 2011, Jaimie was deployed to Afghanistan, where she worked as the chief media trainer in Kabul for 6 months for Headquarters International Security Assistance Force. In this role, she trained over 100 general officers from all over the world on how to master media interviews and was an international media spokesperson herself. Now, Jaimie is not only incredible at what she does in the public speaking and the media industries and having a very diverse travel background as well, but she is also a mother of 2 gorgeous boys. She's a fellow business owner, a true legend, and somebody who I was very fortunate to spend a wonderful week in Hawaii with recently. Jaimie, welcome to the Travel Agent Achievers podcast. Thank you for being so open and sharing your amazing skills and knowledge with us. I am so glad that you are here, especially so early on a Saturday morning, a little hungover.
That part was meant to be between us, Ross.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. No, I went to a gin making class last night and it was so amazing. And I'm a little worse for wear this morning, but could not miss the opportunity to be here with you.
Thank you so much. Now, I honestly think that this is where some of our best work also comes out. I know for me, sometimes on a Friday afternoon, even if I'm thinking about social media or I just can't find the words, having a glass of wine, that's actually okay. The creativity is sparked.
Look, that's not one of my official pieces of advice to have alcohol before you speak, but for some people it does help. You're right. And it just makes you slow down. And for some people, the creative juices are flowing through their mind that way. So whatever works.
Oh, now before we even get into your background, so the alcohol can either bring you up or bring you down. I get that. And now that we're on that path, one thing that I've heard you say recently, though, is that you shouldn't be drinking milk before you speak. Is that like a real thing?
It is. And I'm actually not even following my own advice. I brought a coffee.
Cheers to us drinking coffee.
Yeah. Do you know, I grew up singing. I was a performer all through my childhood and teens. I was in Johnny Young Talent School and we used to sing.
Oh my God, I so badly wanted to be on Young Talent Time.
Oh, so did I. I wasn't that big. I just was in the Newcastle version, which we didn't have our own TV show or anything. But I loved performing and that was just something I picked up, and it was universally known. Don't have any milk before you get up and sing. And so I guess I've just carried that across. And I've noticed if I do have, say, a cappuccino before I jump up on stage, yeah, I'm a little less clear, a little sort of lumpy in the throat. So yeah, definitely recommend trying to avoid the milk before you are doing, say, a massive keynote speech on stage.
Wow. See, I did not know this, and I'm going into a very heavy month of public speaking this month myself. And I would normally have a coffee in the morning, before I start something. So do you just suggest then I just go the long black or a shot or something?
Yeah, just less milk if
Okay,
you can.
less milk. Not the cappuccino.
Yeah, I mean,
all right.
look, just see if you notice the difference, or maybe at least an hour. Don't just have it right before you go on stage.
Oh, no.
That's the main thing.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, that's a really good tip to have. The other one that I also I use especially when I'm speaking for a long period of time, is having like a hot lemon or something next to me. Is that
Yes,
just my own personal preference?
No, I think like Mariah Carey, the big divas of the world, they say hot, sort of warm water with a bit of lemon and honey. Absolutely. And it's the same when you've got a sore throat. That's a really great sort of remedy. So yeah, definitely would recommend doing that for sure.
Awesome. Great. I'm just going to feel as though I'm Mariah Carey now, walking around as a presenter.
Like a diva.
That's it. You heard it here, everybody. If you see me with a what looks like a coffee mug, it's really just hot lemon and water, and I'm feeling like a diva. Great.
Or a sneaky wine, depending on what time of day it is, huh?
That is true. That is true. So, Jaimie, I mean, absolutely welcome. And I'm so glad that you're here. Can you just explain a little bit more about your background and how public speaking has become your thing?
Yeah, for sure. So I think you mentioned in my bio, I've got a background in the media. And so I spent years and years as a TV and radio journalist. And as a journalist asking people questions, I saw so often people really struggle to get their message across. And for me, I thought, I would just love to just give you a few tips. And you would try and coax them in the moment. But every time I would do an interview where someone was struggling, I would kind of write it all down. And I thought one day I'm going to set up a company teaching people what not to do and what to do. And then in the world of politics, I was always on stage doing political debates, community events, live TV, national interviews. And sometimes I would really succeed, and other times I wouldn't quite hit the mark. And then every time I would sort of think, I didn't really master my message there, I would bottle up all those lessons learned. And I really have had a lot of experience on camera myself, making those mistakes, as well as in Afghanistan, where I was teaching people how to master media interviews. And I've just got so many troubleshooting tips from 20 years of experience behind the camera and in front of the camera. And so about 9 years ago, I set up my company on the side as a side hustle, just teaching people how to master their public speaking and their media interviews. And I love it, absolutely love it, because there's no one I can't train. You can give me the most overconfident, egotistical CEO who really needs to tone it down a bit, and I can fix that. And you can give me the most, and commonly who I work with are shy people, or they appear confident, but inside they're trembling and they're really, really nervous. And I can sort of get those nerves and fears out of them and give them tips to avoid feeling that way. And that's pretty much what I do. And I've recently taken it a step further and showing people how to get paid to speak, because the paid speaking opportunities are really endless in Australia.
That I find really interesting, because the Australian market is very different to others around the world in everything that we do, I feel. And I know that you've got the international experience as well as the Australian experience, but does that mean that you're saying that there are more opportunities to speak here now? Or
yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure if it's now now more than ever, but I only really found out about this in the last 12 months. And it's a really cool story because I was doing speaking gigs, and I'm sure many people listening today do the odd speaking gig. Sometimes you might even charge a couple of hundred, maybe a couple of thousand. Other times you'll do it for free. And last year, so 2021 in December, I was asked to speak on stage for a full day for a leadership event. And I literally had no time to do it. It was coming up to Christmas and we had the council elections, and my other half was running in the elections in New South Wales, and 2 little kids. It was hectic, as December is. And they came through and said, can you give us a quote? And I had no time. I didn't even have an hour spare. And so what I did was I quoted the client $30,000. Just knowing they would say no, knowing it was just out of ridiculous reach. And up until that point, I probably would have only normally charged a couple of thousand. It took 45 minutes for them to accept the quote, Ross, and they accept it. Yeah, $30,000 for one day. And
you pulled an all-nighter then, I'm guessing, or a few.
I certainly made it happen. I moved something around, but it was a really great moment for me because I realized A, I had been undercharging for all these years, and B, I'd been telling everyone else to undercharge. And so from that moment on, I thought, well, from now on, I'm not doing anything personally for less than 10,000. Or if I am doing it for less than that, I want to pitch my course or my services or my academy or whatever I was, pitching at the time. And so from that moment on, that's pretty much what I've done. And I've created a course too, showing other people how much to charge, how to find speaking gigs, how to pitch. And I find particularly women, I know you have everyone listening, but particularly women, we do tend to undersell ourselves a lot. And I'm really passionate about that because as women and as anyone, especially when you're a parent, you make so many sacrifices. Yeah. You make so many lessons learned over the years. You troubleshoot, you put in so much of your time learning along the way. You've got all that knowledge in your head. Don't give it away for free. And too often people do that. And there are people who are willing to pay big bucks to hear you speak, no matter what your industry is. And the travel industry is a hot sort of speaking topic at the moment, and people will pay to hear you speak, or they'll give you the opportunity to pitch whatever you're selling. And even if it's just selling your travel agency, they will give you that opportunity in exchange for speaking for free and selling from the stage.
Yeah, I think that even just saying that has opened the eyes and the earbuds to a number of people listening today, because as travel advisors, one thing that I see time and time again, and I have for many, many years, is valuing yourself. And as travel advisors, we are the experts in exactly what we do. And now more than ever, coming through such a turbulent couple of years, the skills, the expertise, the knowledge, the training, how things can happen really quickly in this industry. Yet as a travel advisor, as an expert, we know what needs to be done. And that is very different to, just somebody coming off the street and booking their own trip. Like it's very different. But what I see for the travel advisors is the fear of actually putting themselves out there, or putting ourselves out there and saying, yes, I can talk on this topic. And one thing that we have done in the past that hasn't been, what would I say? Well, it's not, I wouldn't say that it's considered as public speaking, because it's just very natural to travel advisors, is to even put on an event. So to put on an event with a supplier, for instance, so let's say you've got a cruise company that wants to promote their products. And as a travel advisor, we bring our clients together, or we bring the community together and say, hey, we're talking about this amazing travel experience. Come along. Now, travel advisors will get up and actually speak and welcome everybody. I would consider that as public speaking.
Absolutely.
It's very natural, but a lot of advisors wouldn't even think that that's a thing. It's like, oh no, we're just here to support the supplier or somebody else. But I think what you're saying there, it is a beautiful skill to have, but there are many opportunities in order to use it in your business and your day-to-day life. You can do so much with it. And as travel advisors, we can.
Yeah, absolutely. You've kind of just really give me an idea too. So people like myself who are not a travel agent, I'm genuinely interested in the story of what it's been like for a travel agent the last couple of years. I've talked to you recently about this in Hawaii, and I personally was fascinated because you hear all these different perspectives about COVID and what that was like, and everyone thinks about it from their own point of view.
Yeah.
But to hear what it was like for travel agents when you've said some companies have taken years to give refunds and how the world just stopped. And then building on that, there is another opportunity there for a real keynote for travel agents to talk about the future of travel and what's going to happen. Because if you can kind of provide a crystal ball in any industry and give audiences some sort of inkling into the future, people love that. They love predictions. And if you're an expert predicting what the 3 years is going to be like for international travel, or in Australia for domestic travel, any sort of inkling, people will pay to hear you talk about that.
Wow, that's fascinating. But I think that's, I mean, would you see this, I'm sure you do, across business owners, that we're so invested in the business and working in the business that to even hear you say that for me is like taking a step out and looking at things from a different angle and going, oh yes, I could see what can potentially happen. I can see the value of travel advisors. I can see this from my own experience and as business owners. So do you see that as well? I mean, it sounds like that's one of your incredible intuitive skills that you have, Jaimie, to be able to look at things from an outsider perspective and go, oh my God, you could talk on that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So 2 things about that. I think firstly, a lot of people have forgotten about using a travel agent. So the world's just open. Even myself, the world just opened up again. I just booked some flights to Palm Springs. It didn't even occur to me because I'm out of the habit of using travel agents because I haven't for the last couple of years. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I should have used a travel agent. So just putting yourself out there and reminding people about, basic travel agency 101, what a travel agent does, what the advantages are of using a travel agent. That's really, really important, and don't underestimate that. Secondly, what travel agents do, you might see as just boring, run-of-the-mill, standard day in the life of, this is what we do. The average person is genuinely interested in what you do. And I spoke to some real estate agents a couple of days ago, and I said, show the behind the scenes stuff, show the on hold, for a travel agent on hold, waiting to that cruise company or the airline or a hotel. You're the one on hold. The client's not having to do that. Do a day in the life of behind the scenes. Now we're doing this, and just narrate it raw, rough. People love that behind the scenes stuff. And then as a speaker, if you can provide some sort of inkling or an insight into what it's like for the travel industry, and then flip it around to the audience, what's in it for them, what this means for them, for their future and for their lifestyles, their budgets, there's so many different subtopics there. Don't underestimate the human interest factor in that. People lap it up and they really want an insight into your world.
Yeah. See, I love these words. Fascinating. You have the most incredible vocabulary, Jaimie.
Oh,
but
really?
I love this because it isn't something that we would even think of. The behind the scenes, what we do on a day-to-day basis, and the genuine interest that public has, which is great. So when it comes to public speaking, what do you see are some of the ways, like for me, I look at it and go, yep, that could be even just putting together a video or going live on social media or sharing your message with your ideal clients. What are some of the fears that come up or that you see time and time again, and how do we overcome those?
Yeah. I mean, there's so many common ones that I probably could fit them into just a couple of categories as to why people get nervous. The number one reason is fear of rejection. What are they going to think about me? They're going to think this, they're going to think that. At the end of the day, you can't please everyone, and not everyone's going to like you, and you can't focus on that. And I know it's easier said than done, but I personally have learned when I go to an event, I have a job to do. So my job is to educate, inspire, motivate my audience. And yeah, there might be 5 people who don't gel with me or don't learn anything new or think they know it all, and I just don't, not, you know, you're not going to be liked by 100% of the audience. But for the rest of the people, they're taken aback and they're inspired, they're super motivated, and that's what you need to focus on. Also, rehearsing. People often think they're going to forget their lines, they're going to lose their train of thought and just be standing up there like a deer in headlights. And so what I encourage people to do is to imagine the worst that can happen. What is the worst fear? And let's troubleshoot that. So whether it means having some notes on a lectern, having some slides that will prompt you, having even just a little line such as, I just lost my train of thought. I was going to say something then, but if I remember it, I'll come back to it. In the meantime, let's move on. And you've just got that as a filler. And then it's not awkward for the audience or anything like that. So whatever works for you. Some people like to have their entire speech written out and on the lectern. Some people like the audience lights to be dim, to have a clicker. Others like a little lapel microphone. I hate that because I feel very vulnerable that I can't turn it off. And I've seen too often the lapel microphone dying on stage and some technician having to run up and fix it. And I don't like the idea of that. So I like a handheld mic. I like a lectern with some dot points on the side, rehearsing as well. So don't underestimate the power of rehearsing. I have really experienced CEO clients who have done thousands of media interviews, thousands of keynote speeches, thousands of events where they've had people rallying against them, if it's like a local coal mining company or something like that. And they still rehearse. They will rehearse the night before. They'll record themselves and play it back and really analyze their body language, their pitch, their tone, all those sorts of things, and then memorize their speech in some ways. I don't encourage people to memorize word for word, but I do encourage people to memorize that first 60 seconds, because often when you just got that first minute out, you're relaxed and then the rest of it flows. It's just that first opening couple of lines that people get very nervous about. And then once they get going, it's often quite fine.
Would you say that that's also true for like doing a live or having a smaller event with people around, like to be rehearsing and practicing those sorts of things before you even hit record?
Yeah, that's a really great question, because lives are really interesting. I have a lot of people, including myself, who have done millions of public speaking situations in front of thousands of people, in front of national TV audiences, but put me in front of an Instagram live. And I was a couple of months ago super nervous about that. And I have the same with a lot of clients. They're amazing public speakers, but then you think, hit live on Instagram, like, oh, I could never do that. And I've got a lot of really amazing speakers, clients who are in that boat. And so with that, I don't necessarily think you need to rehearse. I think, you just need to do it. Just practice going live and then delete it afterwards, because, 1 or 2 people might tune in because you're not giving anyone a heads up. Just go through the motion of actually going live and realizing it's not as scary as what you think. But what I do recommend is that you come up with just maybe 3, probably maximum 5, but I would say 3 as a general rule, key messages that you're going to stick to, and it's going to be the theme of your presentation. And Ros, this is actually advice that I give people, whether they're doing an hour keynote or even a 1 minute or a couple of minutes sort of video for social media. You don't want to have any more than 3 messages, because the audience won't remember anything more than that. In fact, they'll usually only remember 1 message, 1 takeaway. And if you're a speaker at a conference, there are many speakers, when you get to the end of the day and you think, I can't even remember what Jaimie spoke about. She was the first speaker of the day. And so leave your audience with no choice, but just have some really clear, a main call to action, a main message that you're all about, and then maybe 2 or 3. So follow it up with message 2, message 3, anything more than that, and it'll just get lost on your audience.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you've just thrown a complete spanner in the works here, because I think as travel advisors, and I see this time and time again, we give everything, and including the kitchen sink. Right. Even emails are very detailed because we feel as though the clients need to know everything that is going on, right down to their luggage allowance. but from a speaking point of view, or even delivering a Facebook Live or an Instagram Live, or putting together a video and putting it up on YouTube, or speaking in front of an audience, I feel like that you need to give more, but that's not true.
No, like it's often a juggle for a lot of people. I have lawyers and doctors who'll be speaking at a conference, and they get to me to rehearse, and they've got 10 messages. And I'll say to them, and plus it's using big words, acronyms, they just assume the audience is going to know that as well. And I definitely encourage people to simplify their language, because people's attention spans are not what they used to be. People are thinking about what they're doing that night or on the weekend. They're not even 100% tuned in. So if you give them overcomplicated language, acronyms, they'll tune out. But yeah, the message, the number of messages, any amazing speaker, you listen to them, and the professional speakers, they won't have any more than 3. And often they'll have one overwhelming message. I saw Chris Helder, a speaker a couple of years ago at Business Blueprint, and the one thing I remember from his presentation was all about useful beliefs. Yes. That was it. And I don't remember anything else he said, but he kept coming back to that. He's a professional speaker. It's a great example to use. He's a great speaker. And at the end of it, you get to the end of the Business Blueprint conference, and you think, oh, I can't remember what all these speakers spoke about. But with him, it was useful beliefs, useful beliefs. And he kept having that anchor throughout his keynote, bringing it back to useful beliefs. So it leaves the audience with no choice but to know what your call to action is. And so for travel agents, pick your number one. So think, when people leave my presentation, what's the one thing I want them to remember when they look at my name and they associate my keynote with? And it's the same with doing media interviews too. If you're not going to appear on the TV that night with any more, absolute maximum 3 times. Quite often for Metro News, it's only once. And so I say to clients, just give them the one overwhelming message and keep coming back to that, because otherwise you'll be disappointed if people might say A, B, and C, and then they go, oh, why'd they use that grab or that sound bite? I said so many other amazing things. And so my response is always, well, don't even go there. So whether you're doing a media interview, whether you're on stage, whether you're doing an Instagram Live, don't overcomplicate it. One main message, and then maximum 3 main messages overall.
Okay. Pare it back, people.
Yes, keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Bring it right back. I mean, for me, this is a great lesson. So thank you so much, Jaimie. I needed to hear that for myself. So you obviously knew that this morning that was what I needed to hear. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Public speaking has been your thing for many, many years, as well as your singing background. Like, it's fascinating to hear the things that you have actually done in your career. How are you juggling now so many different things? So we touched briefly on your work with the Royal Australian Air Force. You traveled to Afghanistan. You have your own business in Get Paid to Speak and, your own speaking stuff. Plus you also have family, and a number of other things on the boil, hearing about your political background as well. How are you juggling all of these things to find the time for you?
Yeah, it's a great question and a timely question, because in Hawaii, we went on a retreat. I did a lot of self-reflection, and I now realize that I have been running on adrenaline. I do love what I do. I love, and someone asked me a couple of days ago, my hairdresser said, if you won lotto tonight, would you still do your business? And 100% yes.
Yeah,
I
me
would.
Too.
Yeah, and that's a really great place to be in.
It is.
But I think I've been running on adrenaline. I have been juggling so many things and making hay in all different areas. And there was one point in my life where I was doing, a couple of years ago, an MBA. I did a master's in an MBA. I had a brand new baby plus a toddler. In the middle of the pandemic, I was on council. I was working in the RAF. I had my business. Yeah, I mean, it's always been this intense pace because I just love life and I just want to cram so much in. But in Hawaii, I did do a bit of self-reflection. So it's really timely that you asked this question. And I think I am heading for burnout at this point in time. So I feel grateful to realize that before I am. I genuinely don't think I'm there yet, but I can see why if I keep going at this pace, that I would head for potentially, I think someone in our conference said adrenal failure or burnout, and sadly less time spent with my kids. Whereas right now I'm just kind of juggling it all, and, you know, like a duck on the surface, everything's calm, and underneath. But that's because I love it and it's frantic, and I just love getting new clients, and I love the course that I'm doing. But I think I need to slow down to speed up. I think I need to just cut some things back, even if that means turning away some clients who I love, but take up a lot of time, because you're going into their business and spending all day there. You know, sometimes you're doing that once a month, once a fortnight, and that's taking up time. So I think I need to say no to a few things from now on. I've really learned that, I think, just in the nick of time before it's too late.
Yeah.
And I'm 40 now. And so, yeah, I think I just need to work smarter. And the course is a great way to do that. I think I had a course launch in June, paid to speak, and did really well out of that. And there's so many people on the wait list now because of the results people are getting from the June course, that, you know, the next week, some of them got a $5,000 speaking gig straight away, just using the techniques that I teach in the course. And I think that's really where I want to be. I find that so rewarding to teach people that, and to see people get these paid speaking gigs, and importantly, get paid what they're worth. That's really where I want to go and spend my time and energy moving forward.
Yeah, I love that. And just hearing you be so open and vulnerable with it. It's actually a topic that I have done a recent podcast episode on as well, talking about the brain fog. And, you know, us in Hawaii together, I was thinking I couldn't find the words to speak a lot of the time, or trying to get the messages in my own head clearly through the voice out, and overthinking things, and tired. There's a lot of stuff that goes on. And I really feel for travel advisors at the moment that are trying to do everything and have been doing everything over the last few years, that this is a really timely message to step back, think of all the things that you are doing, and what can you say no to, and where do you need to value yourself. And I love that we're having this conversation as well, Jaimie, with regards to public speaking, but also as humans, that we can't be doing everything. We are doing what we absolutely love in our businesses and for other people and helping other people. But there does come a point where we need to slow down to speed up. We need to take stock of where we are ourselves as humans and our own health, and look at what our value is. What are we doing? You know, valuing ourselves and our expertise and our knowledge to reach more people, or to find an ideal audience that lights us up in our businesses. So whether you are looking to go and speak, put on presentations and events, get more confidence around yourself to put yourself out there. This is a really timely conversation. I think it's so important for travel advisors wherever you are in the world. And I encourage you to follow Jaimie on social media. Not only is she hilarious, but she gives a lot of information and tips. I'm not even going to go there, Jaimie, with some of the things. But
it's nice not being involved in politics anymore, because I can just totally be myself and not have to worry about the perception or anything like that. I love it. I really love just being my authentic self. Not that I was someone I wasn't. I just held back a bit more when I was in politics, and I was a local councillor, and I thought I couldn't just say what I wanted without having to think about it. Now I don't. I just say whatever is
like,
in the moment.
This is me. Take it or leave it. I love that. You can be yourself. It's very refreshing. But there are times that you had to, like in your career, you've had to keep it together. And I bet as a journalist as well, you couldn't actually say what you've wanted to say a number of times interviewing.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm glad that when I was a journalist, though, I was still working out my way in the world. I didn't really have any strong opinions. And so I was just gathering information. You know, I was in my early 20s. I was 19 when I started working casually at Today Tonight. And I was 20 when I got my first job at 2GB Radio. I didn't really have a political stance then. And I was just gathering info, interviewing all sides and making up my own mind. So I feel really fortunate to be a journalist and genuinely not have any bias at all. It wasn't until I spent years working as a journalist and doing the research and presenting the different news stories that I kind of leaned a particular way, but not like strongly either. I was an independent counsellor on Port Stephens Council for 4.5 years, and that was great. A great experience. Council roads rates rubbish. It was a really great way of getting in touch with my community, and I did a lot of self-development over that time. But yeah, just back to your point though about travel agents and that timely information, I can understand, because you guys have done it so tough the last couple of years. I can totally understand now that the clients are coming back. It's hard to say no to money. It's hard to say no to bookings where you're getting commissions and think, I don't want to say no to money. And I can really imagine that struggle, but you can't do it all. And I think people probably need to be a bit more strategic moving forward. It's easy for me to say, because I haven't experienced that toughness that you guys probably did for 2 years, and just no warning came to a halt. And now it's really picked up. So I can just imagine for a lot of travel agents that would be hard. And I know a few who are just really working themselves to the ground at the moment and working 7 days a week, can't get back to voicemails of clients. And there kind of has to be a point though, because you don't want to get burnt out where you think, I'm going to have to say no to some of these like low, what do you call it? Low priority tasks, and be a bit more strategic about it. But I'm sure that's a real challenge for a lot of your listeners.
Yeah, a big challenge right now. But for me, you do so many things. And I've seen that, and I've learned that about you. And like we've even discussed today, your passion though, your wonderment that I see in you, it's such a beautiful gift. Like even just hearing you say now that you didn't have the bias as a journalist, and you just told the story and you no strong opinions. But I recently did a podcast episode on, what's important for me when it comes to travel. And one of the things that I actually mentioned was about you, and how when you and I were in Hawaii together, your face just lit up, the wonderment, the excitement, the genuine interest and the fascination, like using that word, the fascinated, how you are fascinated by all things in life. Now that is a beautiful gift to have. It was like for me, opening my own eyes to travel again, my own eyes to having fun and the excitement and the passion. Like I felt as though things have just been so heavy, that to see that in you just sparked something beautiful in me as well. So I just wanted to say thank you for that fascination. And I said it to you while we were there. Just to watch your face and the wonderment and the excitement and the expression all come up in you, it was like seeing a child go to Disneyland every single day. And
pretty exciting moments though. We had an open door helicopter, remember? It was really fun.
True. I will share some photos when this podcast episode goes live. I'm going to share some photos of us in helicopters and open doors, and just how the hair went wild and the face,
The eyelash extensions got ripped off. I came back with no eyelash extensions. And my eyelash lady said, it's only been 2 weeks since you had your last infill. Where'd they all go? And they literally ripped off in the helicopter, not eyelash extension friendly.
So there you go. There's a hot tip. Anybody that is sending clients to Hawaii and going on an open door helicopter, just tell them about the eyelash extensions. Be aware. I found that with hair clips and, elastic bands and things, they were going everywhere. You kind of had the cute look going on, but then getting up into the air. No, it didn't happen. But can you just share, what's one thing that you love about travel?
Oh, gosh. You just can immerse yourself in a different world. Love travel so much. I love, you feel like anonymous when you're traveling, and you're just kind of looking at it all from an out-of-body experience in a way. No one's judging you. No one knows who you are. You just really can immerse yourself in the culture and experience things. I love it. Absolutely love it. If I had my way, in fact, next year, I just would love to go up and travel Australia with my boys in a caravan. That's the plan. I just, love meeting new people, experiencing culture and new food, all the things we love, the obvious things. I love flying too. I love the experience of flying, especially when you get upgraded to business class. That's amazing.
Hello.
Which I did on the way back from
yes.
Hawaii.
You did have that experience. And talking about flying, so in the Royal Australian Air Force and your role there as well with helping around media, is that right?
Yeah, public affairs, yeah.
Public affairs. So this is also one extra thing that you do, and you can be called at any time to go to a number of different places. We spoke about the aircraft that you fly on, and you were like, Ros, it's so uncomfortable at times. You know, if I'm the last one on the plane, I get the worst seat. It's every man for himself. You know, you've been able to travel a lot. Where are some of the places that you've been as part of the Royal Australian Air Force?
Yeah, so all over the world. I think the minute I joined, I got sent to Malaysia. I'd done 3 trips to Malaysia. I've gone to the Philippines, Guam. Guam was amazing. Guam. I didn't even know where it was. Wow. It's like a territory in the States, and the best scuba diving I've ever done. I literally got my scuba license before I went. I went to Alaska as well. So Anchorage in Alaska. Toronto in Canada. I spent 6 weeks in Hawaii for an exercise. The last time I was in Hawaii before this time for our retreat was for an exercise as well. And then all over Australia. I had never even been to Darwin before I joined the Air Force. It was 2007 I joined. So yeah, a long time ago. And I'd never been to Darwin. I was going a couple of times a year. I flew to Exmouth. So domestically, Learmonth, actually, it's called RAF Base Learmonth, which is Exmouth, and went swimming with whale sharks. That was incredible. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't just always overseas experiences, but then of course, Afghanistan as well. I spent 6 months there in the capital city of Kabul in 2011. And that was an incredible experience
as well. Like that was during the war. And this is a no joke thing. Like we can get excited about the travel and the scuba diving, like Guam. Yes, absolutely. And a lot of the places that you've been, but as part of your role, it's serious stuff too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a reservist, so there's an element of opting into stuff, and I really certainly wanted to deploy. So when I went in 2011, the war had been going for 10 years, and I'm really proud of sort of my small commitment. Obviously, I wasn't on the front line fighting. I was on a military base, which I didn't really leave the base very often. I would go around and travel and do some media training, but mostly I was in the confines of this base, which we had tight security as well. And I'm really proud of what I saw and what I was able to contribute there. We organized an Afghan women's soccer team match. I went out to some of the local orphanages as well. I firsthand saw women getting access to education programs so they could educate their own children. I saw access to healthcare that they never got prior to that. So at that time that I was there, I know it's very different now, but I saw some really incredible work and the local people being so grateful for our contribution there. I also saw a lot of sad things as well. And but all I can do is just focus on the small contribution that I and the team were able to make. And I was in the media team, and we had international press conferences every single week. We had sometimes over 100 media, Afghan media, the local Afghan media and international media. And I was helping the spokespersons feel confident in that intimidating press conference environment and help them communicate some of the work that we were doing, whether it be something tragic to report or something really positive to report in what was really a communication war as well. And it was a great experience. And I am proud of that contribution at that time.
Yeah. Well, I love that you have been able to and had the opportunity to explore this incredible planet that we live on. Culturally, the food, the experiences. We are very privileged to be able to do that, but also to be able to share your experience as well now with other people. And that is something that as travel advisors, that's at our core. We love that. We love being able to curate and share that experience with other people. So thank you for sharing your experience. I can't wait to hear more about that over the time that you and I get to hang out together as well. But before we finish up, I just wanted to ask if you would be open to, and I throw you on the spot here, let's have a chat again if you're open to it about networking, because I think that that's something that as advisors we really want to do but are nervous about it, and getting out there and talking to different people, especially right now when travel is bouncing back. But I think it's about working with the right people. So if you're open to that, I'd love to have another chat with you around that down the track, Jaimie.
Absolutely. I love that topic. I love networking and partnerships and marketing without social media as well. That's another passionate area I love to talk about. So I'll definitely take you up on that offer, Roz. It'll be great.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Now, Jaimie, I know you've got your course opening again soon. So if people do want to learn more about public speaking and getting yourself out there and improve your skills, your knowledge and your expertise in that area, how do people find you?
They can just go to paidtospeak.com.au and they can join the waitlist for my course. If they do join the waitlist and they join the course when just before doors open on the 8th of November, they get a bonus one-on-one with me thrown in if they join from the wait list. And super excited because the results people are getting from the course are just incredible. And yeah, I'm really proud of that. And I can't wait to take the next intake through. You get 12-month access to the course as well. You get a group coaching session with me, but you'll also get that one-on-one session if you join from the wait list. So paidtospeak.com.au.
Amazing. And if people want to follow you on social media these days, and you can also go to your website, we will have all the details in the show notes for you. Where do you hang out most on social media though, Jaimie?
At the moment, Instagram. It's so funny. This time last year, I was not even using Instagram. I used to just use it as a filter editing, and then I would save the photo and post to Facebook. And then even a couple of months ago, I would have told you LinkedIn was where I was mostly at. But Instagram is where you can get me on DM. So just at Jaimie Abbott. So 2 I's, 2 B's, 2 T's at Jaimie Abbott. It's a strange spelling. I would say 2 I's, Jaimie. And so I'm mostly on there all the time. I'm recording. You can get my tips all the time. Almost every day I'm posting a reel which has got a public speaking tip on it or a paid to speak tip. So definitely check me out on there.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Jaimie, for being with us here today. I really appreciate you, your time, your knowledge, your expertise, and sharing with us, about your experience as well. So for the Travel Agent Achievers community, make sure you check out Jaimie at paidtospeak.com.au. We will have all the details in the show notes, including where you can find her on social media, her websites, her downloads and resources. She's got a fantastic ebook as well. So if you sign up for the waitlist for her course, you'll get a very special offer there as well. Make sure you grab it because it is golden. Thank you, Jaimie, for being here with us today. I sincerely appreciate you, and I can't wait to talk to you again.
Oh, likewise. Thanks so much, Roz. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Travel Agent Achievers. If you love it, please share it on Instagram or Facebook. Make sure you tag us too so that we can shout and share with you as well to your friends and colleagues. We are here to help as many travel professionals as we possibly can. Don't forget to check out the travelagentachievers.com website for loads of resources and tools to help you grow your travel business. We'd love it if you shared a review and you subscribe to the podcast so that you don't miss an episode in the future. Now, I truly hope this podcast gives you so much value and ideas to help you build the incredible travel business you deserve to have.